Hello, my name is Ian Tyndale. I'm the online producer here at LGS. I'm going to take you through some of the style aspects about how we present things in an online context. Now you can see behind me, I have a slide that contains a lot of text. It's broken into bullet points, there are indents, nested indents, and overall you can see that the type size is actually quite small. We've put too much stuff on here, and this is quite typical of the way that we would have presented in front of a class of students. We'd put many points, many bullet points on a slide, maybe too many, and we would just simply trawl through them until we hit the end of the slide. Now here at LGS, because we're using televisual technology, I don't want you to do it this way. We have a much better way of doing it. I'm going to take you through the same slide. We'll see the same slide here, but I've broken it into pieces. So, don't use multiple bullet points, or multiple levels of nesting, or complex indenting of text. Each bullet point is probably a separate concept, and therefore you should really split it into a separate slide. Split these concepts into separate slides. If a lecture slide is comprised entirely of bullet points, then it probably contains many facets or aspects that require explanation, and therefore each indented level adds refinement to the explanation. And before you know it, the type size is tiny. The whole slide is too small to read easily. Also, the same slide stays on the screen a long time as you trawl through it, as you talk through it. Now, separate but related points are best made into separate slides rather than combining them. Too much on screen at once is actually very hard to understand. In television, we sequence through related aspects using the dimension of time. Observe how they deliver information to the masses on television news. I would like you to start watching television news and weather with this in mind. See how they deliver information. Now we're using very similar technology to weather, for example. I'm in front of a green screen here. I'm not actually in front of my slide. The slide is on a computer delivered to the output. I'm keyed in front of the slide, but I'm actually in front of a green screen here. Now, in terms of size, this is about the size of text on the screen that you should be aiming for. Anything smaller than this, any type size smaller than this, becomes very difficult to read on small screens. Now think, you may be delivering the material to a phone or a tablet or a computer that has a very small window. So think about how we're going to deliver the type size that you have in mind to a small area. You need a very large type size. Don't be afraid to go very large on your type and not put very much content on each slide. Progressive builds or animated builds that reveal themselves as a slide is revealed one line at a time, or animated effects such as transitions from one slide to another, are not allowed. There's a good reason for this. There's very rarely a good reason to use builds or transitions or animation to get from one slide to another, but more often than not, it surprises the lecturer, even if they themselves created it. You can be standing there waiting for your slide to build. It takes a lot longer than you often think. It takes more time than you anticipate to wait for it all to finish. And that hesitation confuses the online production team. And also from the student's point of view, the flow of the presentation is lost. I would also like you not to use borders or lines or any random splashes of colour or any non-essential, non-informative decoration. Slide backgrounds are to be plain white. Now we need it this way for our televisual production system. Text should be big, simple, plain, sans serif like this. Now pick a font that you expect other computers to also have. Please don't use serif faces like this. This is a serif face, and on a small screen the detail will disappear. It will be very confusing to look at, or ambiguous to look at, let's put it that way. The serifs will disappear on small screens, and through the transmission process it will also become ragged and look a little bit messy. So don't use serif faces, and needless to say, don't use Comic Sans. It's simply unprofessional. So to sum up, in terms of style, make your slides black type on white background, sans serif face, large type. Use not more than one concept or facet or point on the screen at once. So where you would have had a slide that has multiple bullet points, break these bullet points into separate slides, and therefore you don't actually need the bullet. No fancy borders, no fancy backgrounds, straight white background, no decoration, no builds or animated effects, no bullet points or nested indents, just straight lines of text, please.